Okay, so today's question, did Tommy John surgery affect my command and velocity? So, in other words, after coming back from Tommy John surgery, was my command and velocity better or worse? So, prior to my first surgery, I was a collegiate pitcher and I was 87 to 91, touching a 92. After my first surgery in pro ball, I was after my first couple of months where I was kind of figuring out my routine and getting used to the demands and the rigors of pitching every fifth day. I settled in at 90 to 93, 94. So obviously there was a velocity increase from pre-surgery to post-surgery. I was a better pro than I ever was a collegiate pitcher. I think that's also it's not really just because of Tommy John. It's really because I just was a work in progress. So as a freshman, I threw 78 to 81, touching 83. Sophomore year, or by the end of that freshman year, touching 87, touching 89 as a sophomore, 90 as a junior, 91, 92 as a senior, and then as a super senior, I was recovering from surgery. So I was always on the way up, and I was always trying to fill my buckets, my pitchability, my velocity, my command, all that stuff. So there was always something that was suffering in college. I just wasn't put together. I was a late bloomer. So it's hard for me to say because I was never set. If you're like, this is the pitcher I was for a lot of innings, I'm stable, and then I get surgery, and then this is the pitcher I was after that. It just was never that with me. I was always going up, and my results were never very good. So it was hard to pitch worse after surgery than I pitched before it. So as a pro, I threw harder for sure after my first Tommy John. My command was, I'd say, about the same after the first one. And then after my second surgery, my velocity returned to normal. It was the same. So after my second surgery, actually my first time out, there's a video of it on the YouTube playlist of the Tommy John Chronicles where my first outing live against an adult league team. I was 92, 94, which is really exciting. I thought I was going to probably be like 95, 96, 97, considering that was my first time out, but it just didn't end up being that way. I was 91, 94 pretty much all the time after that. So, and even then I was sort of healthy, pitching through a lot of elbow pain, tendonitis, and shoulder issues after that. So I was never a healthy pitcher. So it's kind of hard to say like this is what I was, this is what I was. I was always like a little bit banged up my entire career. So my command and my velocity got better from college, obviously. In my last 3 years in pro baseball, I only walked, I think, aggregate those last 3 years, it was something like maybe 2.5 batters, maybe upper twos batters per 9 innings, which is by far the best rate of my entire career. And it was with the smallest strike zone with the best hitters who helped me out the least. So they would not help me by swinging the pitches off the plate, chasing bad balls, all that stuff. So my command certainly got tremendously better at the end of my career as a 29, 30-year-old than it was at any point younger. It got better every single year, but that wasn't because of the surgery. That was because my connection with my body and my mind got stronger every single year. The standard that I was held to got stronger and higher every year. So I just was always constantly mentally focused on pulling myself up to that level and competing because I just really wanted to just keep playing so badly. So, command is a really enigmatic thing. It's really tough to figure out why one guy throws more strikes than another, why one guy can command the ball better than another, and how you improve your command. But I'll tell you that it's focus. And focus seems like way too easy of an answer, but it was on every single throw. I had a snapshot of how the ball left my fingertips, and I compared it to the perfect throw leaving my fingertips, the perfect fastball, the perfect changeup, the perfect curveball, the perfect cutter. I knew how all of them were supposed to feel when they were at their best, when they caught just right, and the sharpest curveball, the sharpest cutter, the nastiest changeup, and the crispest downhill, hardest fastball that I could throw. I had a still frame image of each one of those in my brain, and every throw I threw, whether it was in pregame, throwing 50 miles per hour, in the bullpen, in a game, whatever, I was always comparing it to that. Every throw that left my fingers. Nothing was good enough if it wasn't that. And if it wasn't the perfect one, it was like, okay, I was a little bit here, I was a little bit here. There was just this constant, like, where was my hand in space and how do I fix it? So command is a big thing. But to answer this question that a listener submitted, my command got better, my velocity was better, and then it stayed the same after even a second one, which is pretty rare. So I consider myself lucky that I came back so well. And, at the end of the day, I had no regrets about it. So I wouldn't fear Tommy John if you're a pitcher and you are faced with it. It's obviously not what you want. It's a long process back. I mean, expect to spend the better part of 2 years finding yourself again. It's not going to be 12 months, I'll promise you that. But just prepare for a lot of hard work, diligent, one foot at a time kind of stuff.